Hi everyone. So we'll now get started. The YouTube link is given in the chat from out here, and so people who are not able to join can join using the YouTube live option. So today we are going to cover on how to enhance your G Suite experience and how to further the platform that you are already using, how to enhance that. So well, I'll go ahead and share my screen. So we will go into the usual place, that is classroom.google.com. Quickly sign in here, classroom.google.com. So this is where we are, and this is where we do most of our things. So the biggest issue that we have got from people is while using a Google Classroom is that teachers are not able to see all the people or all the students in one view. They are not able to see all those uh, people that are there in the class. Normally, if you have more than 16 students, you only are able to view 16 students at one time, and the rest of the students are not visible on the screen. So which has been a big issue because we do not currently have a mute all feature on Meet. And so if a teacher has to mute someone apart other than those 16 students, it's really a big struggle. So we have an extension called Google Mute All extension, Google Meet Grid View extension, which can be installed from, if you search on, you go to Google and search for Grid View extension, you will normally get it here. Now, extensions are essentially few extensions are things which add certain functionalities to the tool that you are using, or to an application that you are already using. So now, if you look at the screen out here, we see that this is a Google Meet screen, and we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So almost 80, 85 people are there in the single screen. Unlike the traditional Hangout screen, where we are limited only to 16 people at one point of time. All right, so what we are going to do, so to add this extension, we can search for Google Meet Grid View, and we'll click on Add to Chrome. It will pop up an option saying add extension. So we'll go ahead and add the extension. Okay. And now you see that once we add that extension, on the top right corner, you have this extension available. Okay. So now what we need to do is, next time, whenever we are having a Google Meet, or you are taking a classroom on Google Meet, you need to click on this extension. Okay. So let me start Meet first. Meet.google.com. Test. Join. So now you can see that we have got this grid view out here, right? So ensure when you when your Google Meet is open, this grid view should be shown out here. It should be visible out here, right? So when you install it, it is visible there. But when you start your Google Meet, it should be visible here. Also, it should not have a slanting line across it, which means when there's a slanting line, it means you're not using the grid view. So when you click on that, now all the participants that are there in your Google Meet, you would be able to see all of them in a single screen. You do not have to change your layouts from here, but you can directly go out there and select which one is the most optimum for you. Like the first one says only show participants with video, which means only those people whose cameras are on would be visible in the on the screen. Highlight speaker basically refers to the person whoever is speaking would be visible, but in your case, since you would be presenting, you can only you just need to enable the grid view, and if you want to include yourself in the grid view, you can say include yourself in the grid view. Okay. Any questions on this? I'll now come back to you and see if any of you have any questions for me. Any of you, if you have any questions, you may raise your hands. If not, then we will go on to the next section. So does anyone have any questions on this? So you can just raise your hands and I'll be able to take questions from you. Okay, so I see there are no questions. So questions. Any questions so far? I don't see any hands. Okay, so we'll go on to the next topic which I want to cover is dual less. Sunita ji, if you, the broadcast is also live on YouTube, so if you have missed any part of the session, you may able to connect on YouTube even at a later stage to relook at what has been missed out. If I'm still low, my voice is still low, maybe you can just let me know via the chat and I would be able to figure out something of that. I hope I am audible now. Is the voice audible to everyone now? So let me see if I can increase my volume. I hope it is better now. Okay, thank you. So as I said, the broadcast is also live on YouTube. So if any of you have missed out anything, you can always refer to the YouTube link. So many times what happens is if you are sharing your screen, you are not able to see the students. The students are not visible because you are sharing your screen. So that becomes a challenge because many times we, as teachers, we may want to see the students at the same time while we are sharing the screen, right? So to do that, we need to go to we'll install an extension called dual less. So the dual less, you can either search it on Google, dual less, and you would be able to get it. Okay. And you can click on add to Chrome. So this again is an extension which is added to your Chrome browser. And let me, as I keep reminding you, that these functionalities are only available on a laptop. These functionalities would not be available to you on a mobile phone. So once you add this extension DualLess, so just getting added. Now you would see that there are two small windows created out here. So now when we are sharing a screen, what I can do is I can split my screen in two parts. I say, for example, I want to take this part. So now the screen would be there in two parts. I'm not too sure if my screen is completely visible. So I'll just share it. So now you see out here, just sharing it. So I hope my screen is visible now. So now the screen is split into two parts. On one part, you can watch the students, whereas you can see the whatever content you are sharing, you can see it on the other screen. So this helps you to see to monitor the students at the same time while you are sharing your screen. So this is quite useful because many times teachers are not able to view the students while the screen share is on. So to get this functionality, we'll be using an extension called DualLess. And as I keep reminding you, these extensions are only available on a laptop and not available on a mobile phone. So to make use of these extensions, we are supposed to use the laptops. Okay. So now I will pause for any questions if someone has. You can raise your hands or maybe you can type it. So I'll just once more share the DualLess extension. 1 minute. So this is the DualLess extension which we need to install. We'll get these two monitors out here and we can choose whatever method we want to choose on these. So DualLess, I would also be leaving the links for installing these extensions in the YouTube channel. So you can, you're most welcome to take the links from there. Hey, Monica ji, I'm just going to unmute you now so you can ask your question. Monica ji, you are unmuted. You may please ask your question.
So, is we need to share the screen if we use DualLess option?
No, DualLess option does not make you forced to share your screen, but whenever you are sharing your screens with the students, and when you share your screens with the students, what happens? You are not able to see the Google Meet window. So DualLess helps you to see the Google Meet window along with the other window which you are when you are sharing your screen. So that helps you to see the students in real time, even while we are sharing the windows.
So it means we can divide our screen in two parts. One is for the our any document and another for the Google Meet screen.
Exactly, Monica. I
Okay.
hope that answers your question. To answer Manju's question, DualLess has got nothing to do with Classroom. It is just an extension which helps you to divide your browser. It helps you to open two browsers side by side, where in one browser you can have your Google Meet, and on the other browser you can have the content. So normally whenever we are opening a browser, we see the full browser at one place, and we are not able to see the students screen at that time, or the Google Meet where the students are there. Hence this extension is useful from that perspective. Praveenji, I hear your question. During assessment, we want to see students. So if you want to see students during the assessment, you need to ask them to be on a Google Meet and switch on their cameras. Viniti, this extension only splits the Chrome into two parts. If you want more than two parts, you'll have to manually drag and drop and arrange the Chrome browsers. Sushma ji, I am currently only talking about things that I have discussed. We will be covering more things as we move forward. So if anyone has any questions on DualLess or GridView, you are free to ask. Yes, Deepika ji, these facilities are only available on Chrome, as I keep repeating every time, that these extensions are not maintained or created by Google. These are third-party extensions with developers that work hard and put it on the internet to make use of it. Okay. Now I'll share my screen again. So let's go to a classroom. So normally what we have seen is that whenever you are creating a question paper or you are trying to do certain assignments, there are some things which you can easily do. However, there are certain things which are very difficult to do. Now, when I say those are easy, anything, if you are a literature teacher, if you are a social science teacher, it is very easy for you to share your content with the student, right? Because you do not have to type in specific formulas or any specific kind of a content out there. But if you are a maths teacher, the dynamics change out here. Now I'll create a form and say maths exam. Okay, solve for right? And now the problem is, if I have to put a formula like a square plus b square is equal to 2abc, how do I do that? Because if I try to put a 2, it will not go with the math rate. I cannot, there's no way I can put that 2 on top. So maths teachers face a lot of issues when they are using a digital format of any sort. It's not just that you're using Google, even if you use Microsoft or any other platform, it is it is very difficult to enter those kind of things, because most of the keyboards that we are using were not created for that specific purpose. Most of the keyboards were normally meant to enter textual data or pure numerical data. But when it comes to maths and other subjects, things take a different turn, right? So we are going to see how we can use certain extensions to overcome this. So the next extension that I'm going to talk about is called Equat.io. Right? So if you search for, or you go on Google and search for Equat.io, this is an extension, right? And so once you install this, you will get this this blue color icon on your forms or any documents that you are creating, right? Now, I have already installed this, so I'll go and fire this up. Okay, so I'll just click on this. Okay. Now, are you able to see this blue bar below the screen? Is that visible to you? Is everyone able to see this blue bar out here, Equate IO, at the bottom of the screen? Is it visible? Okay, yes. Okay, so now this is a very interesting bar which helps us to type the mathematical formulas, right? So the first one is the equation editor. So when I click on this, a window will open up here. Now, if I have to write 3 by 4, so I'll say 3 over 4, right? Plus x plus 7 over 5. Now you see how easily I was able to do this. Now I'll just select this and say insert math, right? So now you see this option is automatically appeared here. This X is just to remove it, but when you see a preview of it, it would be there, right? This option 1. So now this helps specifically emphasizing, this helps the maths teachers specifically because they have a lot of hard work. Because if it's an English paper, I can just go ahead on my keyboard and type it out. But the same is very difficult for maths, right? So we have an extension called Equate IO. If I install it, I would get these additional blue icons over my forms. I click them, I'll get this bar out here. So the first is the equation editor. The second one is the LaTeX editor. Okay? So in the equation editor, you are making your own equations and putting them there. In the LaTeX editor, a lot of equations are already available. So if I click more, I can select from the equations out there already, right? Suppose I want to put a formula like this. This already there. So I can just go and edit and put my numbers based on whatever I want. Okay. Symbols. This has the symbols if you want to use it. Formulas. So you have all sorts of formulas that you are there. You want to use it. So suppose you want to add this kind of a formula. Okay. That is there. You just have to change the values. I'm very weak at math, so none of this makes much sense to me. But what makes sense to me is that maths teachers specifically, or maybe some science teachers may be able to use this tool to easily create their content and to share the students. Okay, so I'll do an insert out here. And now you see all those complex formulas which you would have been struggling otherwise is very easily doable using this Equate extension. Okay? So we have the equation editor where we will just simply, because it has a vast library, so you'll need to go on it by one. Because I'm not a maths expert, but what I do understand is that the maths teachers, specifically in the senior classes, would greatly benefit out of this tool. So now I will come back to you guys for any questions if you have. Let's see. I'll stop sharing my screen for a moment. Yes, so do we have any questions? Yes, I'll come by. So Himaniji, the extension can be installed from the Chrome, and I would be sending the extension links in the YouTube video. So you can, when you go to the YouTube channel, you would be able to get those links from where you can install it. Monica, your question, how will we display programming questions like move any next in like? So you can just press enter. I'll just give you a one more demo. And I also hear that my screen font size is small. So I'll try to increase the size of my screen. Sorry about that. And I'll share my screen once again. Is my screen big enough now? I hope my screen is visible now. Okay. So, yes, Kavita ji, I'll just repeat it. Jyoti ji, as I told you, as I keep repeating, these options are primarily targeted at laptop users. So most of them would not work on a mobile. Hence, you would need to have a mobile to use this. Priyanka ji, I am not a science person, sorry, a chemical person, so I'm not too sure what kind of equations you are referring to. But this equate IO does do a lot of heavy lifting, and it does let you write a lot of maths and science and those chemical kind of formulas. It has a vast library of predefined formulas or formulas which have been already written. All you have to go and edit it, right? So once I've installed the extension, whenever I am creating any form, this blue button will be visible wherever I am typing it. Yeah, Jyotika ji, you can use it for physics, science, math, anywhere where formulas are there. It has a huge library already inbuilt. If you click on this drop down, it has symbols, various kind of symbols that normally you will not find on a keyboard. And these have some generic ones, and then and then you could some type for some symbols which I am not too sure what are the symbols, because as I keep repeating, I'm not a maths or a science teacher, but you do get a lot of variety of square roots and those kind of additional things out here, right? So once you go on insert, we'll just go and look at some specific formulas. Say I would want to insert. Yeah, you can also change the, you also get an option of changing the color and all. So let's say formulas, and this is a volume of a cube, right? And below this, I want to have, say, volume of a prism, and maybe what else? Area Pythagorean theorem, that was exponential growth decay. I'm not too sure what that means, but I'm sure it's some kind of a terminology either used in maths or science. Okay. So once I've put this out here, if I want to go ahead and change the color, I'll see I want this in, say, red. Okay, now I'll select this and say insert math, right? And so when I say insert math, what this is doing is actually is making an image of the option that you selected, and it is inserting it out here, right? So I can do a right alignment or left alignment, wherever you want to align it on the page, and then you are able to show it to the student. So let me add one more. I have no clues what these formulas mean or how they are useful, but the whole idea is to share with you how you can further utilize it. And then I can say I'll make this green, and I say insert math. So now you see out here, we are able to get various kind of formulas and other things out here. Jyotika ji, I'll just go and unmute you. Maybe you can help me with the what kind of specific formulas you're referring to. So I'm really sorry, because I'm not a science person, so I'm not very too sure what exact formulas I could demonstrate from a perspective. Just give me a minute. Jyotika ji, you are unmuted now. You can let me know.
Thank you, sir. Last week I was typing question for physics test and I was unable to add exponential, like I was using formula of motion and laws of motion. So I want to get some formula. If you can please show me.
Motions of laws. Okay, first I'll have to Google it. That what formulas you are exactly referring to, and then
you can write it like S equals ut plus half at square. That is equation for motion.
Can you repeat it, ma'am? I was a very bad student.
S equals ut plus half at square, sir. S is distance here. S equals ut plus half at square.
So, what is that formula known as?
Basically, it is distance with the help of distance velocity. We can calculate distance. We have three laws.
Is this something?
Equations. These are three equations of motion. You can type equations of motion.
Okay, madam. Motions. So they have a lot of large variety of things, equations. I'm not too sure if any of these are there. Because see, the whole idea is that you would get some.
I got it, sir. I got it.
Sorry, I'm not a science person. The only motion I know is that when my tummy is upset.
It's okay, sir. Thank you.
So hope that helps you in those things. But this is some things of the kind of like speed of sound, laws of reflection and stuff. So as I keep saying, I'm not a subject matter expert in those specific subjects. But this tool will definitely help you to get what you are trying to do this. Ranjita ji, we are currently only discussing Google. If you are interested in Microsoft, we do have a Microsoft program and we can talk it on there. But usually this should be also available on Microsoft. Anyone has any questions? You can just type out your questions out here and I will be able to take your questions. So no one has any questions? Good. Attendance, I'll just cover that in a minute. Next, I'll take up the question from Deepika ji. Is there Hindi extension? Now, unfortunately, there's no extension available in Hindi. But the good thing is you really do not need an extension for Hindi. I'll tell you in a minute. Yeah, sorry. We are having a thunderstorm, so I had to close the windows. So, Deepika ji, coming back to your question, we already have something available in Google, which will help you to type in not only in Hindi, in other languages as well. So if you look at my screen, you have an option called here, File, Edit, View, Insert Tools, and we have a voice typing out here, okay? When I click on this, I need to select which language I want to type it in. So you can select, you have English, Spanish, Mexican, Philippines, in some of these languages, Hindi, Nepali, Marathi. So if you are, if you have regional languages also, once I click on Hindi, I just click on speak, and whatever I speak in that language will automatically be typed out. For example, आज रविवार है, कल छुट्टी होगी. आपने क्या खाया? So using this voice typing, you can see that I am not even touching the keyboard and I was able to type perfectly out here. There could be sometimes a few spelling mistakes. That is because the system may not understand your accent, or maybe it's not still trained to understand all the words. So sometimes you may come up with some surprises where you are trying to type something and something else is getting typed. But most of the times you would get it accurately out here, and you can very well go ahead and type it. This is so it's not only Hindi, even for English, if you want, you can dictate it and it will dictate it out. And you have other languages also, in case if you are teaching any, I'm not too sure if any of the regional languages are being taught in your respective schools, but this will help you to, you just speak it out and it will do it. Right? So let me come back to you for any questions. Can we use, yeah, Monica ji, just give me a minute. I'll come back to the shapes in our maths paper. Yes, you can use shapes in your maths paper. We'll get back to Equate.io in a few minutes. Monica ji, yes, we can copy and paste from Word document. Monica Nirvanji, as I stated earlier, we are also live on the YouTube, and the link would be active post this session. So you can always go back and review the things in case you have missed anything. Okay. Manjuji, no, while showing to students, do we need to share screen? I am not very clear. I'll just unmute you, Manjuji, to get a better understanding on your question. Manjuji, you are unmuted. You may please ask your question. Okay, I think Manju is not available. Okay, coming back to Monica ji, can we use shapes in our maths paper? That's a good question. I'll come to you. Maybe you can help me when what you exactly mean by shapes. Monica Nakwalji, you're unmuted. Can you help me with understanding?
Yes, sir. Sir, shapes like rectangle, cubes, like star, anything.
Some of the shapes are already available as a in your thing, but let me see if I can get you specifics on it. So
Sir, I know we can copy and paste it from Word document. Like if I'll write anything on Word doc, I can easily copy and paste, but it is not happening with the shapes.
Okay.
So I just want to know whether it is possible.
I'll tell you why it's not happening with shapes and how it can be happening. So let's see, you have an option of maths, Equator mobile, speech input.
So in order to get shapes, we have to first of all download Equate.io, right?
Yeah, that's the extension. I see they have a mobile version, but I have not tried it out personally. So I am not very sure on how that will function. And so regarding you had asked if you want to how to add a triangle, right? So
Right.
So let me see if I can get one triangle. Okay, square root. Let me see if there is a triangle available. So you have an option called math space, or you have a handwriting recognition tool also. So let me see if it works. Is this something like a triangle? No.
So we can draw it, but shapes are not available in this tool.
you have a math space kind of thing where it opens up an entire graph, and there you need to. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, sir.
And you are able to see I'm signing into an account, correct?
Yes.
So I'm actually a little bit handicapped as far as maths and science is concerned. So मुझे जितना I could put this there, but I see that you have an option of doing some kind of a spacing. Yeah, just let's see if it has got any shapes. Free-handed drawing. So you can, so you can you see this triangle?
Yes, sir.
Just say insert math. I selected this. And then you have an option of okay. Let me see if I can do something on this. Okay, here is copy and paste. So I can copy it from here. And let me go back to the formula and see if I can paste it there. Okay, so I've copied it out there. So this is how this will work. Once you create this, you will copy it. Okay.
Okay.
And then how does this go? No, it's copied something else. What? Let me try to draw it again. And I'm extremely sorry if it does not fulfill as per the expectations. As I keep repeating, I am not very good at these shapes and figures. Oh, we see an option called shapes. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So rectangle, and then we can draw it out here. And then to see how to insert it now. So yeah, so I do see an option now at the bottom which says shapes, more shapes, and gives you all. Are you talking of these kind of shapes?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can try and insert some of these then. So I'll select this, copy, pasted it. So let me copy it here and let me see if I can do a paste out here. Image. Okay, we'll insert. Okay, yeah, it is. So we'll copy this. See if I'm going to do anything on the image by URL. Oh, this is the insert button is on the top right. Sorry, you see this?
Okay. Yes. Yes.
And this will go ahead and insert it directly there. I don't know where it is inserting, but it is inserting somewhere. Okay. Yeah, correct. It's coming down there. Can you see this?
Okay, sir. So only there I have to copy and paste.
No,
I
you
cannot once.
don't have to copy and paste anything. So we'll come back again. I'll do it one more time now since I've learned it. So we'll go on insert math. We'll go to the maths, insert math space. Okay.
Okay.
A new page will open up and it may ask you to sign in with your school account and other things.
Mm-hmm.
You will have this shapes options out here. So you can select whatever shapes you want. So this shape, suppose you want one. And let's see, what is it? Maybe a cone. These are the colors which we're using. Then we have some smart shapes. I don't know why they call them smart, but I'm sure they are smart. That's why they call them smart. So I put these shapes out here. Okay.
Okay.
On the top right, I will click on insert.
Mm-hmm.
And so this will automatically insert it wherever my cursor is in that form. You see? Can you see these shapes now here?
Yes, yes.
So if it's a multiple choice, maybe then you'll have to insert the shape 2 or 3 times, like this
Okay.
option B or C or whatever. So we'll come back here again. We'll go to the math space. Sit tight, we are getting your math ready. You have a freehand drawing tool, so if you want to draw something freely yourself. And there are predefined shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think this also can be used for physics. I remember some of these are physics stuff, ground, the battery, or electronics, not sure what, microphone, fuse, whatever, logic. Right, cylinder, cube.
So every time I have to go back and then copy and paste it.
No, you're not copying pasting. So you're just coming out here, insert, right? You're inserting it here. And
Yeah, if I need it, if I need the same shape, if I need 2 or 3 times, I mean the same shapes.
Yeah.
If I need 4 cubes, for an example, if I need 4 cubes or 4 rectangles, in that case I have to come back here and
so,
then again.
Yeah, so depending where you need them, if you need them together, you can draw them at one time and upload it. If you need them separately, then you'll have to again go again, or you can.
So here I cannot copy it, na? Like copy it and again paste it.
So here, if you see copy image address, okay, can you see this?
Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
So this is a specific address for this, and so if I want to insert it out here, I'll say upload by URL, and I'll paste the URL out there. Let's say insert image. So it will come up, right? So if you right click, you will get the address of the image.
Okay, just a moment, sir. I need to write it.
Yeah, so some of these things you would have to experiment and learn more on your own because. Right, so if you right click, you get the image of that specific shape, and you can insert that image. So you see, I am able to insert the same image again and again. Or maybe you can just make a master sheet of all your images and just refer to them from the URL and you get that done. So you would be able to. Even for these formulas would have also image address.
So when we click on URL, so I don't need to enter anything.
No, because
it will come automatically.
Yeah. So when you have to paste the URL, right?
I have to paste. Okay. I just need to copy from there and paste it over here, right?
You have to get the copy image address.
Yeah, copy image address.
Don't do copy image. Copy image may not work properly. I can try if it works. Right.
Okay.
So you have to do copy image address. Go to the image icon.
Okay.
And then go to the URL and paste the URL. Yeah.
Okay.
Not copy paste. So that way you see that it is able to help you with the various math, science, and I don't know, electric or I'm limited in these areas. So these shapes. Then you have a freehand drawing tool. Maybe you want to draw something.
Okay, sir.
And then you have this marker out here. You can perfect your drawing and stuff like that. So those kind of things are there, right? So it's something that you will have to experiment out and learn it. As you say, you can see even I am struggling to work on it because most of these are something that I don't usually work with.
Right.
And you have some option as a graph editor. So I assume you can, create some kind of a graph and other things also. So this can be used for a variety of other things. It's just that I'm just giving you that these are certain tools available to you. How you are going to put it to your use, I mean, for me, it would not possible to cover every use case. Some of them that, like we discussed and we learned, I can help you. But all the use cases, I would also not know myself. So you will have to just, look at the options available within the tool, and that will help you out. So I'll stop sharing the screen, and I'll see if anyone has any question.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar.
Okay. Ranjita ji, I am not too sure what you are trying to share math app in Word document. I just unmute you. Maybe you can clarify yourself. Okay. What I'll do is. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, so I've enabled the option to unmute yourself. So maybe you can unmute yourself and you can let me know what you exactly refer by your question. I was not
Yes.
very.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Sir, my query is the app which you are using in this Google Classroom. Can you use it in normal, like when you are generating question in MS Word, like a Word document? So can you use this app in Word document also?
No, ma'am, I'm not too sure because this is a Chrome extension, which means it works on a browser, right?
Okay.
So I am not very sure if it will work on a Microsoft Word which you have installed.
Okay.
But once you get the use of the browser, I think you would not really require Word and Excel because most of the things you are getting it there and then. And then also from copying from Word to a Google form may be a bit challenging. So I normally would recommend installing this extension on the laptop or a desktop and directly working it on your paper rather than putting it in a different application or like Word or Excel and then trying to paste it out here. Because when you when you work directly, you will be able to see the layouts and everything there and then. Otherwise, you may end up working again if it is not up to your expectations, and then it might be a double work for you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Anyone else has any questions? I've enabled the unmute option, so you can just unmute yourselves and you can go ahead and ask questions. Any questions on it? Yeah, Sheetalji, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question. I saw you raised your hand. Okay. Let's see. Typically, I'm not sure if you're asking or you're telling, but if these features are there, then it is good. And if not there, yeah. Sunitaji, dual screen is already available on this YouTube live broadcast, so you can always go back and refer it. If you still have any issues, then maybe you can post me and you can WhatsApp me, and I'll be able to take it out. So let's go back to our classroom. Before I go on to the classroom, we have another extension called Meet Attendance. Right. What it basically does, it helps you to get the list of participants that are there available during a Google Meet. Okay. So the Meet Attendance extension is this one. You can go and install it. So what I'll do is I'll uninstall it and install it again. Meet Attendance, add to Chrome.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Your screen is not visible actually.
Oh,
Have you? Yeah.
sorry, ma'am. I forgot to share it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I hope it is visible now.
Now it's visible, sir.
But, teachers, I would request you to mute
So
yourself.
can you please go back and start from beginning from first meet attendance?
Yes. Okay, so we can just Google out for the Meet attendance extension. Okay. When I click on this, it will bring me to this page. Here I can click on Meet attendance. I'll do add to Chrome, add extension. Okay, so now you see this Apple kind of an icon is out here available. This gets activated when we are using Google Meet. So what this does is it basically captures the list of students that are active or that are a part of that Google Meet at that time. However, what it does not do, so suppose I'm taking attendance right now and there are 10 students, it will show us as 10 students being available. However, if any student joins after that, it would not be visible. So which means only the students which are available during when the attendance was taken, it would show up. So it will create a Google spreadsheet, something like this. Meet attendance. Right, so it will basically keep adding who all are available at that given point of time. So if you look at this screen out here, if you are able to see the screen out here, what we see out here is that there was this meeting with this specific URL. Now the URL is same out here, see? It's ending with MQY. This also is ending with MQY, and this also is ending with MQY. Which means whenever I took the attendance, it gave me the names of the participants. It does not give me the email address. It gives me the name of the participants that were available at that time. So if I took a attendance at 10:57, we see there were 15 people. At 10:59, there were 19 people, or 17 people, sorry, and so on and so forth. So it is quite possible that Bevin may, that when I took this attendance, for example, Bevin may not have been a part of this attendance at that time, right? So this only takes attendance at point of time. It does not give a consecutive attendance wherein you are able to see when a participant was, when a participant joined or when a participant left. Those kind of things are not available. Well, let me show you one attendance. Okay. So that kind of an attendance is not available via this extension. So if you really require that some kind of an so this will only give you a basic kind of attendance. If you really require something more, then maybe we can connect offline. We have a different product, which I'll just show you in a second, which we had done a demo with sector 45, I think. So this is so if you are looking at something different, so this is also available, but this is an offline discussion. So here we are able to see that, for example, Chandan had joined. was joined by 8:32 to 8:36 on Android. Then at 8:36, you would have got disconnected or something happened. So here we see the consistency out here. However, in the Meet attendance, we do not get the consistency, but it does, you get somewhat of the idea that which of the students were able to join that meeting at any given point of time. I'll come to the questions now. I'll just stop sharing the screen.
Sir, will all these extensions will be permanently added to our Chrome, or whenever we will just log in our classroom, at that time we have to add it again and again?
Yeah, so ma'am, these extensions are permanently added to your Chrome. Just for the sake of understanding, these extensions are not part of a Google Classroom. These are not part of a Google product, but these are some of the additional things some independent developers have developed and put it on the net. So these are, so which means if you want to use a formula kind of thing, it will not stop you if you're using it on your personal Gmail account, right?
Okay.
These are not linked to your Google account. These are independent of your Google account.
So one thing more, whenever you will just complete all these extensions, now kindly let us know from your screen to us how we have to use them. Okay.
I did not get your question, ma'am.
So when you will just complete with your session now,
Yeah.
after that from your classroom, from your class, you will just let us know how to use them. I have seen I was using the grid in my laptop. One time it was showing me that it was a cross sign over there. When I clicked on that, then it became a full grid view.
Yeah. So that's your enabling and disabling that extension basically.
Okay. And tell us one thing more, how to use this Meet attendance in our classroom?
So once you go to the so once you install the Meet attendance, this will become like an apple out here.
Okay.
Right. So when you join a Meet,
please show us your screen is not visible.
Yes, ma'am. I'll just start sharing my screen. I keep forgetting it. So currently, see, this is grayed out, right?
Okay.
So the moment I go on a Meet page, it automatically becomes red.
Okay.
Test. Continue. And join now. And if I click on this, it will take some time to get activated, and it will create an Excel sheet for you. So it takes some time to get activated for the first time. So I can say create a new spreadsheet, okay, or if I want to use the existing one, add a new sheet. It's not yet activated. It's still yet activated, I think. Let me see if it gets activated. I'm trying to activate it.
Excuse me, sir. Along with the participant sign, you will find the shortcut to the attendance sheet along with the participant signs.
At the bottom of the screen?
Right corner, top
Yes,
right. Along with the participant where it is written one. Sorry, where it is written one.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I don't use. Okay, thank you.
This one.
I don't use it very often, so.
The top one, the green part. Yeah, this one.
So if I click on that, it will tell me. I don't think so. It will only show me up. So, yeah. So it will create a sheet and tell me who is available. But I think since I'm the only participant, it might not show up. Right? So yeah, thank you for that. I don't primarily use it. I more rely on the one which we work on this one. So the basic idea is that you get an idea of what the extension does.
Okay.
And so you can switch it on and off and just play around with the extension, then maybe we'll be able to get it to work. Yeah. So yeah, so you will see that it gave me the meeting link and it gave me the name of the participant. So this does some kind of a basic work. And so this should be good enough if you are not really very hard keen on to get a report format and other things, unlike like this one where you are able to get the email address and who started the meeting and stuff. So that's it. Right. So any questions on this?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let me close this. Let me close this. So we will go back to our classroom now. Okay, Monica ji, so the students have already seen the marks, but that's only specific to your quiz form. If you want to see the overall assessment of a student during the class year, so let me take you out to a classroom out here. So now if you look at this screen out here, you are able to see all the work a student has done throughout the year. It also gives you an idea of the class average, what is at the average of the class. So this may help you to determine or do a self-evaluation that if you are doing a test and say you've got 20 or 30 of students and the class average is low. So that means what you are explaining to teacher to the students, maybe they are not able to understand that why the average is low, or it could be that your students are really weak and you need to really work more hard with them. So because when the students get it, they get it as an individual. But here, if you go on the grades page, whenever you are importing, it gives you a holistic view of every individual student throughout whatever tests and other things you have done. So to go to that option, this is the fourth option in your classroom. So stream, as you know, is the first. Classwork is where you do your assignments. People is where you are adding the students and everyone. And grades is there where you see. So you get a holistic view of all your classes. So it's not a one-time activity that I've just given to the marks. The student knows the marks and it is the end of it. No.
Excuse me, sir, your screen is not visible.
Is it so? Oh, I thought it was visible. Okay.
Sir, please explain again.
Okay. Is it visible now? Oh, wait.
Yes. But that's the Google Classroom one.
Yeah. So you're able to see this classroom screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you look
yes,
at
sir, we can see it.
So if you look at the grades option, here you will see the entire grades of the student throughout all the assignments, right? So you are able to get an overview picture of what the student has been doing in his last exams or this unit test or mock test or whatever. But if you say that you have just given it, what is the use of then importing it? So normally when you give a student a mark in your physical notebook, you would not normally remember how many marks he got, whether he has progressed or not. But this is a kind of a report card or a progress card, I would term it as, where you get to see the student's progress across whatever he or she is doing throughout all those assignment time. So this helps you to evaluate that, and hence it is important that you import the grades and have them there. Okay, does that clarify your question?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, we allot the marks ourselves, but the grades are calculated automatically?
No, marks and grades are one of the same things. We call them marks in the US education system, they are called grades.
Okay, when we frame the question paper, we allot them the marks. But after importing the grades are sent to them automatically by the system.
Yes, ma'am. You have an option of release grades or return.
Yes, sir.
So when you
Yes,
release
sir.
or return them, they are sent.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any questions further on that?
Oh, excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, can you please tell me that how we will, in the question, how we will use the enter? For example, in Python, I want to write a is equals to 10, and then in the next line, I want to write another line, another word or line.
Where do you want to use this?
While preparing the test.
You just simply press the enter key.
I'm not getting what you're saying.
You have to press the enter key, madam.
Sir, it's not working. I tried it. I tried with the space also.
Then you maybe then you need to take a help.
Can you show by sample, because we are creating our test in the quiz, not in the form.
Okay.
Quiz
Quiz
assignment.
assignment, right? Now, what do you want to do here? Test assignment. Okay. Right. Now, what do you want to do? You cannot put an enter out here if you're typing at the question.
Yes, sir. It's showing continuously.
Yeah, so that will be there continuously. You have to put in your questions below that. If you have to put anything additional, you will have to put it in the form descriptions, right? So I'll give you an example. Say this is a English paper. Okay. So I say write your name, and you make this as a short answer. Make it mandatory.
No, sir. I want to say that.
Yeah, if you're wanting to know that how can I put an enter after the name, that would not be possible. If you're asking from that perspective, if you want something else, then you can let me know. Or whatever you have to put it, you have to put in a form description. Or what you can do is you can copy and paste it there. So let me go and open docs. So I've put it out here. We need to understand that Google Form is not a text editor. So if you want to have anything text editing, you would need to do it separately. So you will not be able to put an enter between this, right? So your question will always be in one line. And then if it is a paragraph, it will just keep going to the next page like that. Okay. So you cannot.
So, but in programming, we need to be in the next line. Is there any way to write in the next line?
I did not get your question.
Sir, in programming language, we have to give the coding in the next line.
Okay, can you? Yes. So what you have to do is out here, right? Right. Code to get or say correct the correct.
Yes.
Right now, there you can then have an option to say paragraph. Okay. Sir, you can give the inputs to the students, and they will be able to do that on the long one.
No, sir. I want my question to be MCQ, for example.
Right. Now, I'm coming to that. So you have an option out here of adding a description. So I think description should be able to. Let me see. So you think, right, you have to correct the following code. Is that what you are saying, or what is exactly?
For example, I want to write a is equals to 10.
Then that,
and in the next line, I want to write b is equals to 5.
Okay. Let me see if you have that kind of. Description. No, so then in that case, you'll have to use an image to do that. Then you cannot do that directly. You'll have to use an image. So you can add a screenshot and use an image. You will not be getting a paragraph because Google Forms is not a text editor. That's why you do not get any of the options. You do not get bold, italic, underline, those kind of things. You normally are not seeing out here, right?
Okay, sir.
So those are the features of a text editor, if I understand it correct. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Any other question on that?
And sir, one point we have see that while we are making the test and the due date with time, the students are able to fill that after the due time also.
Yeah. So and I'm going to cover that a little more in detail. So stay put, right? So we have a thing called section out here. Okay. So let's see. English unit tests. Question is divided into 3 sections. Attempt and then I can give some additional instruction or whatever. Now you have an option called here section, which means the student first will have to fill this part and then he will be able to go to the next section. So instead of having one long question paper, it is now further broken down into smaller parts. So correct the following code, then describe noun. So this is my question. Okay, now I do a preview for this. So first the student has to answer this and then only the student will be able to go to the next question. So I'll make this question section 1 as required. Okay, and now if I do a preview out here, so you can see that the student is not able to move till the next page till he has completed the answer, right? So when you add a section, the question paper can be divided into smaller parts, and which helps the students to navigate through their questions easily. Okay. Okay. So this is how we were able to get this option from here. Any questions on this, on the sections? Also coming to your code part, I think we should be able to use this title and section out here. Let me see if I...
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the major difference between forms and quiz?
There is no difference between forms and quiz. Quiz is an activity. Forms is a platform using which you do the activity.
So we cannot provide the answer key in the form?
No, whatever you are creating in a form only, right? So if you look at this, this is a form only. Whenever you see this, this is a Google form. Also coming back to your question on how do you provide the code. So what you need to do is you need to add a title and a description. Okay, please correct given code, and this is a test, that is a test, all of this is a test. Okay, and then below that, then you can put your the other question on it. Does that help you?
No, sir. I want to ask that we have to prepare the test.
Correct.
And in the form of a quiz, we are provided to able the answers key. It means when student will submit that form, that quiz, they will get the response, they will get their marks immediately.
Correct.
Is this a way we can do in the form also or not?
Madam, forms is a method through which you take a quiz.
So we can say that quiz is a part of form.
Yes, ma'am. Quiz is a part of form. So, let me clarify what you were trying to say. So you and I are on the same page. I say classwork. Great. Are you referring to this quiz? So you are saying what is quiz and what is a form, right?
Yes, sir.
So when you click on a quiz assignment, inside the quiz, we have a form. So using that form, you complete the quiz.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on that?
What is the use of this rubric on the top, bottom right, below the topic?
Yeah, so the rubrics is basically when you are assigning a descriptive question usually. For example, you would say, write an essay on independence of India. You want the students that the essay should be minimum of 500 marks. So for example, your total essay is for 10 marks. So you said if you write minimum 500, you will get at least 2 marks. So you are further breaking down and helping the student to understand how the grading will work. So let me create a say assignment. India. So suppose this I've asked a student to write a thing on freedom of India. And I say rubric, okay. So this is 10 marks. Okay. 100 words. So if you use 100 words, you will get 1 marks. Then you can further now say use of 3 marks. Of correct grammar. So if he does 100 words, he will get 1 marks. If he has used a correct grammar, he will get 3 more marks. So that means that now his answer's worth is 4 marks. Okay. So you are just creating additional criteria which will help the student to understand how his answer has been graded. So this is normally would be applicable not on an objective type question, but maybe on an assignment or a project where the student has to put in a multiple kind of values, right? So like I said, minimum 100 words, use of correct grammar, and then maybe you can put in certain facts or whatever. Like in the copy भी है ना कि ये ठीक करके आओगे तो 2 नंबर तो handwriting के मिलेंगे ही मिलेंगे. What you are doing is you are using a rubric, you are putting certain parameters that अगर handwriting ठीक है तो 2 नंबर आपको मिलेंगे मिलेंगे चाहे गलत ही लिखो. So this.
So it will be calculated by Google automatically.
No, madam. How would Google know that the use of correct grammar is there or not, or those are 100 words? These are your criteria. So when you are checking the question or when the student is getting the answer.
So we can say that it is a rule for the students.
Yeah, it basically helps them to understand that how they would be evaluated on their specific assignment.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, Pooja ji, you can say something you wanted to say. Anyone has any questions?
So can you explain what is due date?
Due date is a date by when the student has to complete their task. If they complete their task post that, then it would be normally marked as late.
But sir, when I put this date yesterday, it was my paper and I put this date and time there, but it was not working.
Madam, that could be a specific case. I would not be able to take any specific cases out here. You would need to check your settings or maybe connect with another teacher who has been able to do that, because getting into individual specific cases would not really be possible at this point of time.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Any other questions anyone has?
Yes, excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I wanted to ask if someone send you paper after a time. After time means after maybe 1 day. So I don't want that responses back. How to block that?
So what you can do is you can go ahead and close your form. So, for example, this is your Google form. Let me open my Google form. So if you do not want any late responses, you can close the form. So what you'll go is say, this is your English. Go to the settings options here. Go to responses, sorry. Okay. And say, close this, not accepting responses. Yes. So now next time when a student clicks on this, it says no longer accepting responses.
Okay, thank you, sir. And one more question. If I have submitted my question paper to the students and I don't want further changes in that question paper because I have seen अगर उसमें थोड़ा भी changes होता है तो पूरा responses I can't find that.
The student will never be able to change any of your questions.
So can't I freeze that question paper if from my end? Is there any option like that?
No, question paper is always decided by and frozen by the teacher. Only teachers can make changes to it. A student can never make a change to a question paper.
Okay, fine.
Sunil sir, in this we can log the questionnaire or the form. There is a log option available if I'm not mistaken. When you lock it, nobody can make the changes except collaborators.
Where is this lock option, ma'am?
No, I remember. I'm just confirming it from Sunil.
So that is where when the sharing option comes. So there are two parts to a form. One is a collaborator, wherein with whom you have shared this question paper as a collaborator. That means that would be a teacher, right? So if you go out here, not here. If you go as on these three dots, add a collaborator. A student is never a collaborator. A student cannot be a collaborator. Only a teacher can be a collaborator. A student can not edit anything on it.
Okay.
And student never gets this link. The link that, for example, for this is ending with AVQ, but the student, when they click, they get something 9PQ or something of the Google form. So the link to submit a form and the link to edit a form are two different ones. Only a collaborator can edit the form. So if you have shared your form with another teacher or maybe a student, they can edit it. But that sharing has to be specifically defined out here. By default, students will not be able to edit on it. They will not get an option to edit. The students will always get a view-only copy where they would be only putting in the information that you put there. Okay.
Okay. So, sir, how to lock our classrooms? I mean, I don't want as such be someone else after time when I take my lecture. After that, no one. I don't want anyone to open that classroom or see assignment or anything else.
No, assignments which are posted are visible to students because assignments are meant to help the student when their live class is not going on. So assignment would definitely be there. However, if you don't want to give an assignment to a specific student, when you're posting the assignment, instead of selecting all students, you can selectively select which students would get that assignment and not send it to the others.
Yes, yes. Got it, sir. Thank you. Yes.
Any other questions or issues that you have been facing? I think it's almost 3 weeks since you people are on Google for Education.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Sir, on this screen, can you just close this window of students' names? On the same window on the top right hand side, this says assign, and when I click on drop down, there are 3 options given of schedule.
Yeah.
This is also given, and this is also given for points due date. So could you please let me know the difference between the two?
So assign basically means is when you whatever you assign is immediately posted to the student's classwork and they are able to see it. Schedule is you define a time when the students will be able to see it. So normally if you want the students to see it at 6 p.m. for example, you normally should assign it for 5:57 p.m. because there's a 2 to 3 minute lag. So if you want the paper to appear at 9, maybe you should put it as 8:58 a.m. Because what we have seen is there is a 2 to 3 minute lag because the system processes everything, and so it may not appear exactly at that time. So that is as far as the schedule is concerned. Due date is the date and time by when you want the student should be able to respond back, or by the due date by when the student has to complete its task. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. So that means if a test is available for 30 minutes, then we should give due date more than 5 minutes matlab, here in the system.
No. So then if your question paper is for 30 minutes, you could click on schedule and say it will start at 8 a.m. So instead of 8 a.m., maybe I can say 7:58 a.m.
Yes,
so normally it takes 2 to 3 minutes. And then you can put the due date. And you can say the due date is 8:30. Schedule. So it will start at 7:58. So normally it will take 2 to 3 minutes to appear in the morning. And by 8:30, after 8:30, students would not, when they submit it, they would get you would get a notification that it is being submitted by delay.
The form will not be available to them.
No, it would be available, but you would get notified it is delayed. If you do not want the form to be available, then you can go to the form editor, click on responses, and say not accepting responses. Then it will not be available to them.
This has to be done, sir, post 8:30 or at the time of creating, or at the time of creating and rescheduling.
No. This has not accepting is a hard-coded method, which means that whenever you click not accepting, it will stop accepting from then onwards. Okay? Scheduling cutoff time or the schedule time is the time where it will, if anyone submits it after that, you will be notified that it was submitted late. So the scheduling does not stop a student from submitting, but it is captured as late. However, when you disable accepting responses, the student is not able to submit.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
So one more question. I wanted to know who is the domain administrator?
Domain administrator would normally be the person who is responsible for creating the accounts, ID, passwords, and resetting the passwords.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, just now as we were seeing on the screen, when you assign any assignment or any quiz, the import grade option will be visible to, will be available to you. Yeah, you can go on the screen.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, the import grade importing, and as soon as you schedule it,
yeah,
the option automatically gets disabled.
So that so what?
This will be only possible if you write a title here. If you give a name to it, then only a sign button will be functionable.
It is always there.
No, sir. It will get it gets disabled as soon as you schedule the assignment. It gets disabled.
This is scheduled for tomorrow only. Sir. This is there is great importance there.
So we have done this number of times, and every time the option gets disabled, and that's
even I am doing it here. You tell me how many times you want me to do it. So the
problem, kindly schedule it one more time. Just yeah.
Quiz assignment.
Right.
This is मैंने ग्रेड इंपोर्टिंग कर दिया शेड्यूल कर लेते हैं.
हाँ जी.
शेड्यूल. Okay. So ये पहला वाला था ऊपर वाला. So go and edit. Yeah, it's already there in total.
So maybe the blank, that quiz form is blank, or I don't know. I mean, the content is there in it.
No, it is blank.
This is happening because the quiz assignment is blank, or what? I mean, I have done this number of times, and every time I schedule it, the grade importing option gets disabled.
No, maybe because you are using the space bar too much. So what happens is, see, when I come here.
Yeah.
So while it is being created, if I just press the space bar, now I'm only pressing the space bar. So before typing something, you would have pressed the space bar directly without going to the title or something. Okay, so by default, when you come out here, when you come in this page, and so I'll do it one more. So when you come out here, create quiz assignment.
Right.
If I press the space bar, now I'll just press the space bar while it is getting created. You see, it is getting on and off. You see?
Okay.
That could be the case. Maybe you are using this space bar or something at any shortcut key or something that is basically enabling all the
one more thing, sir. Can you go to the response area? Yes, sir. All right. So, sir, whenever I'll be getting responses from the children's, and once when I took the test, the names were available to me. Maybe that time I have, I think I had assigned the assignment. I didn't schedule at that time. I assigned the assignment. Okay. And now if I'll be okay, now if I'll be getting the responses from the students, I'll be getting in the name of their email.
Right.
So how to understood the thing that which student has scored how many marks?
So when you go on the grade importing,
yeah,
it will automatically capture the students, and whenever the student turns it in, let me see. So suppose this one out here, right? So what you have to do is you have to do import grades. You should not be bothered of whether email address or what is getting.
This form was available to me that day. This form was available to me that day. I was concerned about the scheduling part. I don't know, because that grade importing thing was,
two, three things.
Okay.
One, the scheduling is got nothing to do with grade importing.
Okay.
Grading importing is separate and scheduling is separate.
So that case happened with me. That's why I was concerned. The day I assigned the test, this sheet was available to me. This which is going on the screen, that day it was available to me.
Use cases, I would not be able to say anything because I'm not too sure how it was assigned or created.
What you can do, sorry to interrupt in between, but what you can do is, as first question, if you write it as write your name and then click on required, the students will have to enter the name. So when you see the answer sheet, you will have the student's name there. That is how I do it. So you will get along with the email ID, the name of the student as well.
All right, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
One common error that we get is you need permission. You need permission in the sense this form can only be viewed by users in the owner's organization.
Correct.
So please tell us that why does it happen? Sometimes students do tell us that they have logged in there with their school's credentials and still this is coming up to them. Correct. So how to go about it?
So ma'am, when you registered for this training session, did you use your personal ID or did you use your school ID?
Sir, I used my school's ID. We were told.
Right. So so what basically happens is, let me try to join from the mobile and show you why exactly that happens. Give me a minute.
I can't see your screen.
I'm not sharing right now. 1 minute. So that basically happens is because most of the parents or students or even teachers have got multiple accounts signed into their phones. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I'll just show it to you. Seeing is believing. When you see it, it's easier to understand. Just give me a minute. See if I can show you something up there. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to join from the mobile, and I also need to be registered to join. I'm just registering myself for the event. Have you encountered that error?
Yes, sir.
You are joined from a laptop currently?
Yes, sir.
Just let me. Bear with me for a minute. I'm just trying to join in from the mobile. I'm not able to join from the mobile right now. Okay. I'm logging in now.
Suman ma'am, I have figured out the way for that.
So it's not too complicated. Just that you would see it, it would be easier for you to.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, a couple of teachers have been facing this issue.
Yeah ma'am. Ma'am, उसका solution मिल गया ma'am.
ये बताया ग्रुप में किसी को?
I'll tell you ma'am. अभी just figure out क्या I'll tell you about that. Don't worry.
You have to open it in a private window basically. I'm just trying to share my screen from the mobile. It's Zoom.
Yes, sir.
बेसिकली होता क्या है ना कि आपके फ़ोन पे कई सारे अकाउंट्स होते हैं एंड सो व्हेन इट्स ट्राइंग टू एक्सेस द फॉर्म वो आपके डिफ़ॉल्ट अकाउंट पे चला जाता है कई बार, जिसकी वजह से द सिस्टम डज नॉट अलाउ यू टू डू दैट. So the workaround to that is आप अपने phone पे incognito window open कर लीजिए.
So बच्चे अपने login करते हैं account से, you know, they have shared the screenshots where they are logged in with their school IDs and still.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, I can.
So now the problem is the students are logged in with their personal IDs and school IDs on the phone itself. Now what happens, sometimes the phone does not recognize that the login is happening from a different ID. Okay. So in that case, what you need to do is, on your phone, if you click on those 3 dots on the Chrome browser, you have an option called New Incognito Window.
Yeah.
Paste that form URL out there. It will prompt you for the school ID and password. Enter it, and you would be able to access it.
So that I can do with the where I can see the 9 dots also, right?
No, ma'am.
Kind of that?
No. 9 dots is for your G Suite. 3 dots is for your browser. So I'm not talking about the 9 dots out here. Not these dots. On your phone.
Oh, that's it. All I'm saying, when I click on the where we could see your photograph, your account, we could.
Madam, do you have your phone in your hand right now?
I do, sir.
Can you open the Chrome browser?
Yes, sir.
Now on the top right side extreme, you will see 3 dots, correct?
I don't.
Can you see?
Sorry, sir, I cannot see. Suman, are you able to see the G sign? Sign of Google G.
Sir, if I got it correctly, the child, or if the child has logged in with the personal account, so he has in the browser also the child has to be logged in with his school's credentials. Is it so?
Correct, ma'am. So sometimes if there are multiple logins on these browser in the schools on the browser, so the student needs to just open an incognito window by clicking those 3 dots, and he would get a fresh window, paste in the URL of the form, and he would be able to access it instantly.
We can also choose the our school email ID by going in the Google browser setting.
Yeah, but sometimes that may not work because like for me, it creates a lot of issues because I have almost like 11 accounts configured on my personal phone. So sometimes that may not be the best method. So, but you can always, you can always try to use that. But the easiest and the best way to do is to just go to the incognito window on the mobile phone and start and use it from there.
Okay, sir, one last question. As far as the link of Google form is concerned, the link can only be shared with the students with the help of WhatsApp web, or is there any other way to share the form link?
You have to post it as an assignment in this.
I have done that, sir. We did it yesterday as a demo one. So a couple of students were not able to do that. Then we had to send them links via WhatsApp. So I just wanted to know the link of the form of the test can be shared via WhatsApp web only, or is there any alternate method?
That is not a method, as I am saying. The best way is to share it using the Google Classroom.
Yeah, sir, we did that. Sir.
So that is the only way you should be doing it, and not any other.
Exactly, I told the teachers. All right, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions anyone has?
I just want to know one thing. If we assign a test to